Hello, summer camp art students. I'm Ms. Morris, and today we will create a two-dimensional mixed media painting titled Tropical Flamingo. For this lesson, the materials you will need are a sheet of paper to protect your surface, or if you have something already in place to protect your surfaces at home, that's fine. You will not need this. You will need an 8 by 10 inch canvas board. It's really thin. This is what it looks like, 8 by 10 inches. You can find these at Michael's or any craft store. They're very cheap. They usually go about $1 to $2 a board, or you can buy a dozen on Amazon for less than $12. That's all up to you, but usually they're very, very cheap and easy to find. Also, you will need is paint. I prefer acrylic paint for this project. They, again, are cheap as well. I am using today the colors pink, yellow, which is a deep yellow, green, blue, a little bit of black, and white. Again, those colors are pink, yellow, green, blue, black, and white. You will also need a cup of water to clean your brush. You will need 1 pack of modeling clay, Crayola modeling clay. It's very cheap. You can find it at any arts and crafts store. 1 magic marker in black. Elmer's glue. And a flat, you can see that, a flat paintbrush. Okay, so it's wide on this side, and when you turn it to this side, it's nice and thin. So that's our flat, a small flat paintbrush. Let's get started. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is take your brush, go into your water, go into your yellow, and you're going to create a line in the center of your canvas, just like this. Very easy. You're going to take some of your yellow, a tiny bit of your white. Notice I kind of just have a little area here. And I'm not really picking up a lot of paint, just a little. And I'm going to create a sun. So a crescent shape like this, and I'm going to paint that all in. Again, taking a little more of the white, just a little, because I want this center part to be a little lighter than the rest of the yellow. Okay, just like that. Then I'm going to go in, and I don't have to clean my brush, but I'm going to go right into the yellow. And around the sun, I'm just going to paint it darker using just the yellow. And again, you can clean up these lines. Does not have to be very perfect. This is just going to be the background for our flamingo. And you're going to keep going around. If you find, and I noticed this when painting on canvas, that your paint feels a little tacky, meaning you start to see the texture like your brush is getting a little bit dry, just go into water, just water, and that will make that paint nice and fluid again. See? Now I'm going to redefine this centerpiece. I'm just going to go in with just white, not cleaning my brush, So I want to keep some of that yellow residue on my brush. And I'm just blending that out. So there's not a sharp line. It just looks like it's naturally blended. And how you do that is you just keep going across and over just to blur those lines, okay? And when you feel like you're satisfied with that, we're going to move on. Just like that. Okay. Now, you're going to clean your brush. You're going to go right into your pink. Notice I'm not picking up a whole bunch of paint like this. Please do not do that. You'll have an excess amount of paint on your canvas. It'll take forever to dry. You want your paint to be applied nice and thin, but you want to see it and make it opaque as well. And how you do that is you just keep going over it with nice thin layers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the upper outer part of the sun. And just like I did with the white and yellow, I'm going to blur those lines. So kind of just meeting right where that line meets where the sun starts and the sherbet colored sky meet. You're just going to blur those lines. Nice. Okay, very good. Just blending. So you're nice and blurred. Really good. And if you feel like you have an excess amount of paint or water on your brush, just get some paper towel, dab it off, and just keep going. There we go. Now, cleaning your brush, I'm going to go right into blue. And just get a little bit of blue on your brush. You don't have to pick up a whole scoop of it. Please do not do that. Holding your brush on the flat end in a 90-degree angle, you can always use it nice and thin. Understand that this brush makes two different strokes. If you hold it at a 90-degree angle, using its thinner side, it can make a nice thin line. Or if you hold it on the flat side, it makes a nice wide stroke. So what we're going to do is right here, coming in off the edge of both sides of your canvas, you're going to just create a line. And you're going to leave this space here open. So you're not going to paint any blue in this space there, okay? I'm going to come just on the sides, coming from the sides inwards, and work my way down. I'm just using horizontal strokes, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm going to stop about there. Okay. So about an inch from the base. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Now I see here, this is where it gets a little tacky. You can see when I paint over, the canvas is soaking up so much of the paint that it's making my brush and the strokes a little tacky. So I'm just going to go over it with some water and smooth that out. Using the same brush without cleaning it, because we want the residue of the blue, I'm going to pick up some white, just a little, and I'm going to go over and blend that white in to create that ocean in the background. Again, coming in and leaving this space. I don't want a straight, perfect line. I want it to look very natural. So I'm just coming in, just like so. Taking a little bit of white without cleaning my brush, just kind of going over what I've already done, just to give it some value. There we go. Now I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to go back into yellow, and then I'm going to go straight across like so down the center in my horizontal strokes. And it's okay if you pull a little of that blue in, that's fine. Notice your canvas should not be totally saturated where you have thick areas of paint in one area or all over the canvas. I know some people can be a little heavy-handed, but you want to try and be nice and light, okay? And not smudge too much and not use too much paint. It's just becomes really hard to dry, and the excess paint is just too much, especially for canvas this size, very small canvas. Okay, now don't worry about this, okay? We're gonna go back in later and fix that. Now you're going to take your paintbrush, and at this time you should be noticing your canvas starting to dry in certain areas. That's great. Acrylic does not take a really long time to dry, usually 15 minutes to dry, but it should start to dry as you paint. It's a very quick drying paint. We're going to go into our green now. And we're going to just pick up, I'm going to put some green here, where you can mix at home. And I'm going to pick up just a little bit of black to create a dark green. This is going to be the background. I'm going to create some layers here. I'm going to come up as if I'm making grass, and notice this green is nice and dark. And from the base, using the total flat side of the brush, I'm going to just go paint vertical strokes, going upwards from the base of my canvas, going upwards. just like this. And that's right, I'm going straight across, right over the blue, right into it, right over it. I am creating these layers. Need to mix some more of the dark green, you can do so. Going way up, not too far. Okay. Good job. Okay, now I'm just going to wipe down my brush a little bit to get some of that dark green off. And I'm going to go right directly into the green. It should be nice and a lot brighter than your darker green. And holding my brush at a 90-degree angle, remember, you don't need a lot of paint. Holding it at a 90-degree angle, meaning it's parallel to your canvas board, like straight up and down. Holding it at the thin angle instead of the wide angle, we're going to hold it at the thin angle. So this will be the wide angle. This will be the thin angle. Got it? I'm just going to come up and create these strokes as if I'm making like really huge leaves, but they're in no particular shape or form. And we're going to go back over these with black marker later to redefine them once this is dry. So don't worry about that now. I'm going to come over to the edge of my canvas, and I'm going to make a curved line going down. I'm going to create our palm tree and kind of crossing over the pink into the yellow, and then creating these palm leaf strokes here, like this. Again, still holding my brush parallel to the canvas on a 90-degree angle to create these nice thin lines. And again, don't worry about it. If you mess up, you can dress it up. And also we will redefine those lines with a magic marker. Again, all the way on the sides as well. I want them coming from the sides. From the top, angle down, like a curved line. Really easy, not that hard. And we will go over all of these with black marker afterwards to redefine that shape, give it a little bit of detail. You know, I'm not being too particular and purposeful with my strokes. I'm just putting them in just to add a little detail. And there you have it. You can place them wherever you like. Okay. Now that I've done that, I'm going to clean my brush again. And if you notice there's any areas where you got too much paint, you can just take your brush, clean it, dry it, nice and dry, come back over that area and smooth out some of that extra wet paint. Like if you find that there's an area where it's just way too thick, okay? Okay, now I'm going to clean my brush and I'm going to go into my pink, back into my pink, holding it at the thin side. I'm going to make horizontal strokes, just little dashes, like it's reflecting off the water. That sherbet sky is reflecting off the water. There we go. I'm going to clean my brush, go back into my blue, and I'm going to do the same thing I just did with the pink. Just going over no particular way, just nice horizontal lines, little dashes. There we go. Okay. Now, at this time, we're going to let this dry. If you have permission at home, you can ask your mom or dad or your parent to use a hair blow dryer to blow dry your canvas, and it will dry much, much faster so you can move on with the process. If not, give it some time. It dries really fast and we can come back to this. So at this time, I'm going to pause so this can dry, and then we're going to move on to the second step of this project. Okay, let's resume. Now that we have our canvas and our painting is dry, we're going to take our modeling clay and this is what it should look like. And everyone's usually using this in school. We're going to take a part of it, just a piece about like that much. I'm going to save this to the, put this to the side. I'm going to take this and make a ball. And then shape it into like a flat, push it down a little bit. And we're trying to create like an oval shape, like a fat oval shape, just like this. Okay. You're going to pinch on one side just a little to create the flamingo's body shape. So it should look like a teardrop, the shape of a teardrop. So on one side, you're going to make it a little pointy, just a little, not too much. Smooth it. Don't press so hard down on your surface that it's hard to lift, and then you have a hard time lifting it back off the surface, okay? So again, like a teardrop shape, that's a teardrop. You're just going to make one end by pinching and smoothing, just like that, okay? The next thing you're going to do is you're going to roll this on one end. So one end is fat, one end's a little thinner. Flamingos have a very long neck, and it's kind of curved, almost like an S shape. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your shape and you're going to press it into the other side of your mold. Then you're going to make this head shape by bending it. Again, don't press so hard on the surface that it's hard to lift off. You're going to press nice and gently. Now, working the head, this should be the fatter part of your roll, and this was the thinner part. You're going to just create the beak by just pinching a little bit at the base like that. Good job. You can smooth that however you like, but you're just going to pinch. When you're done, you're going to come over with your canvas that you've painted. In the center, you're just going to add a little bit of glue, just a little, like that, not too much. You're going to lift your mold and place it right in the center. Or if you like, you can move it and move it a little higher. That's up to you. However you plan on adjusting it, don't worry if the glue is a little on some parts that you don't want it on. You can always wipe it up. It's just Elmer's glue. So I'm going to just adjust this the way I like it. It looks really good just about there. With the head, I'm just going to take it, move it up, add a little bit of glue. You don't have to put glue all the way around. That's unnecessary. And you're just going to press it in. Press it onto the canvas, just to give it a nice hold, because we already have a little bit of glue in place to help it hold. Just like that. Now bringing this over, what we're going to do now is we're going to paint. Taking your brush, the same flat brush, we're going to go into white. Always start with your light colors first and then move up to darker colors. That's the way I like to go. That way they don't bleed or, mess up your painting colors. And right in the center of the head at the top here, I'm just going to paint all of this white. Now, I know you can't see it at home, and I can barely see it here, but I know it's there because I'm applying it. So I just want to paint in the white, not the base, just in the middle where the center of the head is. And I'm working around my modeling clay. I don't want to get any on my canvas, so be really, really neat about this. You don't have to go all the way in the inside. We're basically just painting the tops. We're going to paint the top surface and just a little on the edge, but not so close to the canvas where we smudge and get it on the canvas, okay? Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to clean my brush in the water, go right into my pink, and I'm going to paint the head and down to the neck. Notice I'm being really, really careful. If you have to move your canvas around to get the edge where you want it, you can do so. But again, do not try to get it so seamless that you start to smudge paint onto your already painted canvas. So I'm going in just a little bit. It can be close, but not so close that you make a mistake and you get it all over your canvas board. And if you do so, again, you mess it up, you dress it up, you can always go back over that color and kind of clean up where you smudged. Okay, so I'm just coming right up to that white and I'm going to stop there. I'm going to come down to the body. Painting the whole thing pink. Nice. Awesome. Now, I'm going to go into my white. That's right. I may have some residue of pink on my brush, and that's okay. I want to leave it there because I want it to blend and make a lighter pink. So I'm just going to pick up just a little bit of white. You can see here. Picking up just a little bit of white. And I'm going to come here and create the flamingo's wing. So notice that white and that pink are mixing. I'm just making these short little strokes, picking up some more white. And I'm not really blending. I'm just making strokes where I can see the difference in the white and some of that pink mixing together to create that flamingo wing. There we go. Making short little dashes so it just resembles its wing. Just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to clean my brush and just a little tiny bit of black, just the tip. Just want to get it just on the tip, just the tip. I'm going to come over to my bird and I'm going to paint the base of his beak. Again, being really careful not to get it on your canvas. I'm going to go on the inside just a little bit. And then I'm going to make one little small line down the center, going straight up like that. And that's it. Kind of redefine his beak. Okay. Taking whatever residue of black I have left, I'm just going to gently, softly dot for an eye. You see how tiny that is? You can probably barely see it, but it's there. Okay. Now that this is done, I'm going to let my paintbrush just rest in the water because you don't want to have dry paint on your brush. It's really, really hard to come out. Now that I'm pretty much done, I'm going to go in on my dried painted canvas, avoiding the flamingo. I'm going to take my black magic marker and I'm going to redefine these tropical leaves. So while we wait for this to dry, we're going to just work this out. I'm going to create some lines. Again, they don't have to be perfect. I'm just kind of like outlining. 1, 2, 3. Just like this. Kind of just going over what you've already done. Again, no particular way. Your canvas should be perfectly dry when you do this. Otherwise, you will damage your marker, okay? So once that's done, you're going to come down underneath the flamingo, from the base of the flamingo, right here underneath in the center. You're going to create a slanted line towards the left, and then coming back this way towards a slanted line towards the right. Okay? Then you're going to, he has a really long leg, so you just want to just kind of like keep going down. And then you're going to make 3 lines like this for its foot. So the flamingo's foot always bends forward, unlike humans, ours, bends backwards. Then you're going to come back under right where you were with your first leg, and you're just going to make one straight line. That's it. That's all you're going to do. You're going to come back into where the water is, and then you're going to create these dashes with your black marker. Not a lot, just a few. Good job. Now, it's optional. Once your flamingo is dried, you can come back in and just kind of like outline, just to redefine where the flamingo's wing is. So I'm going to do that now because mine's pretty dry. I use a nice thin shape. I'm going really lightly. And there you have it. This is your tropical flamingo, two-dimensional mixed media painting. Well done. Good job, boys and girls. Goodbye.